second round of it as well.
Is it kind of like the November thing?
I'd done the first 3 weeks and I was like, oh, I'm going to shave. And then I went,
Okay.
I need something to do for the next 3 weeks.
Okay, I think we're live, guys. I think we're live. Welcome if you're watching from somewhere else. I'm just going to share this on my personal Facebook, and then we can get cracking.
And we can start to talk all things mental health.
That. Mute that. Okay, share. What the heck? Okay, I think that's shared onto my timeline. You guys still there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, maybe Friday nights in the UK and Europe are a bit quieter. Nice.
Yeah, just don't come to us at 8 o'clock on a Thursday.
Yeah, we're still playing around with what day works for people to do this. I guess we were doing midweek, like Wednesday originally.
I was so shocked the last week when people were up at like 5 and 4 a.m. I was just like, people don't sleep.
We actually had way more people. Maybe at night, like people are more down for like, I'm staying up late, why not? Like, what can I lose?
It was really surprising. I was like, Louis, are we just going to be like you and I and chatting? And then all these different people from different places of the world starting popping up. It was quite fun.
No, I liked it. Yeah, I kind of like keeping it random and just randomizing the times we do this. I know some people want consistency, but I kind of like the randomness. For those watching that have just tuned in, we are just waiting for a few more people to arrive, and we are going to be talking about mental health awareness. This month is Mental Health Awareness Month, right? Is that what it's called?
Hey, Tim. Hello.
And then we've got a trivia game that we've set up, and it's going to be a bit of an experiment. We did a test last night, but this could be fun. I think this could be a fun new format, like playing trivia together.
I
don't know how it's going to work.
Are you guys competitive people? That's my question.
Slightly, yes.
Yes. What are your best like game stories where with families or with friends I think games can be really fun, and they can also be really intense if you have competitive people.
Yeah.
Family games can get very intense.
Same.
Louis, were you saying that your dad was quite competitive?
Yeah, my dad's competitive.
I'm like the opposite. I'm very not competitive, and I find anything quite, like, if it's extreme, I find it quite daunting.
I like competing against myself. Like if I set like a personal goal on something, I want to beat it, but I'm not like, I don't think I'm super competitive with other people. I am maybe for fun, but I don't like get angry about it, you know?
All right. Tim, how are you doing today?
If anyone's watching the live stream, you can join this video call if you want. There's a link in the description of the live stream. You can just click that, and then you can come and be part of this actual conversation rather than just watching if you want. It's pretty chilled, not intimidating at all. Don't worry.
Yeah, super chill, super fun, super nice. You can do it. No, you don't need to be a YouTuber or anybody other than just yourself.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Phoebe. How are you doing, Tim?
I'm good. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm fantastic. I'm just chilling. I saw your post, and I was like, I'll come in.
Yeah. Thanks for joining. Yeah, we've. I don't know how many weeks we've been doing this now. It feels like we've been doing it for like over a month, right?
Yeah, over a month.
Over a month,
I think.
I mean, the UK, it's been in lockdown for 6 weeks now.
Yeah. Adam, how you doing?
Hello, Louis.
Hey.
Hey, folks.
Hello, Adam.
I like your office. That's cool, man.
Thanks.
Where are you calling from?
Belfast, Northern Ireland.
Oh, nice. I've only been to Belfast once, a long time ago.
What are the names of those little figurines that you have in the back?
They're pop figures.
Pop figures, that's what it is. Yes.
Yeah,
nice.
I've got the dude. I've got Silent Bob. I've got the
Oh,
cast of Firefly.
I
They're
keep seeing
pop figures.
pop figures. That's what it is. Yes.
Nice. Hey, Jassim.
Hey, Louis, how are you doing?
Yeah, good.
Hey, Sophia. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. It's my birthday this week, so
Happy birthday.
I had a really good time with my housemates. We had a birthday cake. I posted on Instagram. Let me show you. It was an amazing vegan chocolate cake that Sophia made for us, actually.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I saw it. I think I
So
double
good.
tapped it
Yeah.
yesterday.
So nice.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that's very cool.
How old did you turn, Louis?
Yes.
How old did you turn?
Yeah, guess how old I am.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess you're like, are you late 20s?
Oh, that's so nice. No, I'm now 37.
37.
Oh,
Yeah.
you look so young.
Thanks. I feel young. I feel a lot younger than that.
Don't worry, Louis. I'll be 37 this year as well.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Snap.
I'm 28 in June, so
I'll be 20. I'll be 20. So I'm the youngest.
Oh, wow. You're only 19?
I'm only 19, yes.
Wow. How old are you, Phoebe?
25.
Nice.
Right, in the middle.
Yeah. Should we start this trivia? Should we start this quiz, Sophia, or should we do a little check-in first?
Yeah, I'd like. I think so. As Louis said, we're doing the first kind of event for the Mental Health Awareness Month, and I think if we can just kind of go around and really honestly, obviously, if you don't want to share, it's fine. Share maybe one word or a short sentence about how you think your mental health has been recently, and it can be specifically about the COVID situation, with the Corona situation. It can be the past year. We just really want to get the conversation started around healthy and unhealthy minds. So yeah, let's do a little around the table. I guess Louis, maybe you can start and call out names so that we make sure everybody gets to check in.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. I've actually historically I've never suffered from any kind of extreme mental health issues, or even just kind of like depression, anxiety, anything like that. So I feel like pretty lucky that I haven't had issues like that in my life. There's been times where I've had bad things happen that I've like really struggled with, but it hasn't been like in a consistent part of my life at all. It's been really interesting during quarantine that I have felt my anxiety levels probably the highest they've ever been in my life. And I can't really put my finger on it. It's like weird. Like some days I'm fine, but then I've just overall haven't been sleeping that well. And just occasionally I have to like just try and take a breath and just try and relax, because it's not really that, it's not like a logical thing I'm thinking, like I'm stressed about anything. It's more just the uncertainties left me feeling so weird. And it's probably the first time in my life where I've felt like an ongoing anxiety. I don't think it's super extreme, but I have felt it. Today particularly, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling relaxed because I had a good week, and I'm feeling positive today. But yeah, I'd love to hear how other people have been doing. Joel?
Hi, yeah. So today I kind of woke up quite late in the afternoon.
Oh, from Russia.
So like I've just been like not sleeping very well, and like just really struggling with like going to sleep at night, finding it difficult like mentally, like because when there's so much change and stuff like that, I find that really quite difficult to get a grip on. And I generally normally have like bad weeks where I don't sleep very well, but it's becoming a bit repetitive now. So I was just saying earlier that I had a good chat with my my doctor here in the UK, and they've prescribed me with some like good sleeping tablets, so hopefully that'll help fix my sleep. So yeah, generally I'm feeling probably quite low today.
Yeah.
And I have been feeling quite low in general because you know, I can't really do the things that I want to do, which
Well,
really sucks.
it's good you're hanging in there, man. Before we
Mm.
keep going round, there's a few people watching the live stream. Samantha and Eva. If you want to join this video call, you can click the link in the description of the live stream, and then you can actually join in and like actually not just watch, but you can actually join in. So no pressure, but if you want to. Should we keep going around? Phoebe, how are you doing with your mental health?
Okay. I would say overall of my life in like the recent periods, the word I would describe as acceptance. I think recently I've gotten a lot better at accepting my moods and not being like meta angry at the fact that I'm feeling low today, or I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling angry. Like I've kind of reached a point of being able to accept if I'm feeling some way in some day, and that's helped me a lot. Today I would say overwhelmed. It's my emotional feeling today, just with the state of everything really, and that's quite corona related, but also then being just accepting of that's how I feel today, and having a chill day because of that, and not letting it kind of influence the rest of my week or the rest of anything else. Just accepting that today is a day that I feel overwhelmed, and tomorrow will hopefully be a better day.
Cool. How about you, Tim?
Yeah, so I guess I would say during this whole quarantine situation, a word to describe it would probably be confusing. Coming from someone who has dealt with like severe mental health issues in the past, going into this, you never really know if it's going to pop up again. And so you're just always kind of on the tip of your toes. And at first, quarantine was really hard for me, but this past week has a lot of things have started to go right, and so I think I've noticed an upturn in my mood and just mental health in general. So yeah.
Good to hear. How about you, Adam? How have you been? Hey, Cecile.
Yeah, me and mental health have a love-hate relationship. It's been ongoing for years. I've actually...
Someone's joined. One sec.
It's okay.
Show non-video participants. Oh, we've got four people from Russia. I wonder how that link got out. Are you guys real?
I'm
One
sorry,
second.
but how do I turn
Oh,
on
it is
subtitles?
recording.
Can you... Sorry, guys. One sec. Can you guys put your videos on if you want to join?
No, we don't have a video.
You don't have video?
Ладно, я пошел пить чай.
I don't have it ever.
Ладно, иди пей чай там.
Okay. Oh, Sophia, you're muted. Sophia,
Sorry.
you're
I was muted. I had muted myself as I was going to mute others. I'm going to mute newcomers.
Should we...
I am on it. Let's remove.
Sorry, we're just going to... I don't know who these people are, but we're just going to kick them out.
Just do some housekeeping.
Yep, that's doing some housekeeping. That's what I'm trying to do.
That hurt my ears so bad. The volume was high.
Yeah.
I had to take my earphone out.
I don't know where that link got shared, but anyway.
I haven't shared anything.
Oh.
All right, we're back to normal. So we were checking in on Adam. I believe you were sharing with us.
Yeah. I've actually been a patient in a psychiatric hospital before. So me and mental health were never good, but now the thing I'm finding difficult about lockdown isn't necessarily from me, because I'm actually an NHS medical first responder. It's from my son, who's 7, who's autistic, and he doesn't understand what's going on. So he's been out of school for actually 7 weeks because he goes to special needs school. And before, his moods were fine, no problems, but he started having really bad meltdowns because he just can't articulate the frustration of, why is everything changed? I'm not at school. I'm not seeing my friends. I'm not at my grandparents. I'm not going to my after school clubs. It's just get up, get through the day, go to bed, get up, get through the day, go to bed. And seeing that in him breaks my heart because I can't translate it for him. But then him being good helps me because then we have more playtime together. And if I'm not at work, then so it's sort of a, as I said, it's a love-hate thing, you know. Seeing other people's frustrations and not being able to do anything about it causes more frustration in me. But then seeing him find happiness, like out in the garden in the paddling pools and running around in the hose, and me kind of going, yeah, I can do that too. Let's get the water pistols. All right. So yeah, I think it's about finding balance. That's my favorite word at the moment, is balance.
That's cool.
Thank you
Yeah,
for sharing.
it must be so hard to navigate this whole situation with kids. My sister has a daughter, my niece, and yeah, it just sounds like a whole nother thing, trying to like keep kids entertained, trying to explain to them what's going on. And so yeah, that's crazy, man. Thanks for sharing. Jassim, how are you holding up?
So basically, so I'll give a little bit of context. So I was raised by my father by telling that every single bad thing is a lesson. It's not a bad thing. It's not something negative. So that's why when I talk about mental health, is that everything that is happening right now is a lesson to me. So for example, this lockdown is actually a lesson for me to actually appreciate some stuff that we couldn't appreciate before. So every single moment that we are living through is a lesson, and that's how my parents raised me. And I feel like it's a great thing for me to learn from what I've done, even if it's the biggest mistake I've done in my life. It's still a lesson, and we can progress from it. And that's how I've been mentally. I've been taking every single step, every single moment as a lesson for me, and not letting the smallest things go away. That's how I could say.
That's amazing. So it's a incredible perspective to have, I think. How are you doing, Cecile? How are you doing this week?
Really good, actually. I don't it's so funny, like thinking about mental health when you're in a really good mental place. I feel like it's so easy to get disconnected from those times when you're not, feeling as great. So I've definitely had those moments during this quarantine and throughout my life, of course. But I don't know, the vibes this week for me have been really good. And I definitely am starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like there's so many new job opportunities and just like lots of things happening. So yeah, it's been a good week.
It's good to hear.
Yeah.
And hi, Sarah and Bailey. How are you guys? Where are you calling from?
I'm from Wyoming.
Ah, thanks
Yeah.
for joining the call. We were just doing a little check-in to see how everyone's doing. Today is the first day of the Mental Health Awareness Month, so we thought we could just chat together a bit if you want to. No pressure.
Yeah, I can share a little bit. I'm actually a high school English teacher, so I've been adjusting to teaching teenagers online. And this week has been hard because our school, we live in an area where there are a lot of people that live in poverty. So a lot of our kids right now are homeless because their parents have lost jobs and they're struggling with food, and our school district is trying to provide food for these kids. And it's just been really mentally draining trying to help kids as best I can, but not being able to be with them physically. It's been really difficult.
Wow. Yeah, I can't even imagine how that feels. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully just these kind of conversations, we can have these little group calls, we can kind of help support each other a little bit, or just have somewhere to chat to people if we're feeling a bit isolated, which I think is one of the biggest problems during this time.
Yeah, definitely.
Are you Reem or Sarah? Are you guys there? I can see you, but you might have disappeared.
Yeah, hi.
Hey.
Hi, Louis.
Where
This
are you
is
calling
Reem.
from? Hey, Reem.
I'm from the UAE, United Arab Emirates.
Oh, amazing.
Oh.
Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. We're just doing a little check-in with everyone to see how we're holding up right now with our mental health. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good. I'm staying currently with my family. I don't know if you know, but currently is the Ramadan month. So
Yes.
I'm spending it with my family at home. So yeah.
Ramadan Mubarak to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I used to live I used to live in Kuwait. My childhood was
Yeah.
all in Kuwait, but I'm
Yeah.
Moroccan and now I live in France. So I moved.
Wow. That's
Cool.
really
We've
nice.
got Stephanie's just joined. Are you there?
Stephanie doesn't seem to have audio set up yet, so
Okay,
I'm trying to see if I
Stephanie,
can.
let us know when your audio's working. Oh,
We've got Nicolay, we've got a few people popping in.
okay. Yeah, we've had a few.
Um,
Did someone share this link? Did someone share this link on
dear.
Twitter by
Let
any
me try
chance?
to delete people.
Did anyone share this link on Twitter?
No.
No.
No, I got a YouTube notification from it.
Weird. I've had this issue before when I've shared a link on Twitter and then it gets a link gets attacked. Sophia, if you can have the window up, I'm going to try as well, but you can just remove people.
I have it up. I have it up. I'm on it. See right now.
That's one there. Get that one. Okay, guys, this might be tricky to navigate.
Yeah, I think you said games and people got the wrong idea.
I know.
Wait, maybe this is
there
the game.
any way? Yeah, is there any way? I mean, obviously, I don't want new people to not be able to come in, but is there any way to lock?
Yes, that's a great idea. Let me have a look.
You can lock the room for sure.
Yeah. Right. I'll go look into that. I'll see if I can lock.
So last call for all participants who aren't robots. Come in, Void. Lock the classroom.
Please don't destroy my ears. I need them. It's
How
too
do
loud.
we... Advanced options. Oh, I haven't done this before. There must be a way to lock it.
I'm looking it up, Louis. I'll see if I can do it.
Guys, we'll just try and lock the call, and then once we've locked it, we can. Okay, that's not a real person. We can start the trivia game. Sophia's.
You can keep the door. If you can monitor the door while I'm learning how to.
I'll keep trying to. This is kind of fun. Sorry, guys. Bear with us for a second. So that's annoying if people are now bombing calls from YouTube and Instagram links. Oh man, they're just coming in fast, aren't they?
I don't know how they come in.
It's so
Okay,
cool.
wait. Oh, lock the meeting.
How do you do it?
In the meeting, click participants. Pop-up says lock meeting. Let me.
Participants, manage participants.
I'm locking the meeting. It's locked.
Did you lock it?
I've locked it.
Awesome. Okay, guys, sorry if you're watching. If you're watching now from on the live stream, you can no longer join this call, unfortunately, because of some people's behavior.
I can set up a waiting room, which I'm doing, so people can ask to go through a waiting room, and if they show a white hand, I might let them in. No.
Cool. So the only person we haven't heard from is it Sarah or Sarah?
Yeah, it's Sarah.
Sarah, where are you calling from? Oh, you cut out.
I have really low internet.
Oh, okay. Where are you calling from?
I'm in Nice. I'm in France.
Oh, nice.
And of course, I finished all my data within 20 days.
Oh no.
Even if the government offered us like extra data for the lockdown, but I just finished everything. But I still have some internet, which is better than nothing, I guess. How are you all doing?
Good. Yes, I'm feeling good today. And we just had a little check round. I think there's a range. Joel just messaged saying he wasn't feeling great, so he actually left the call.
Oh, that's sad. I think that one day I'm happy, one day I'm a bit sad. I think it's just normal because we're around the same walls. Even if I go outside, I go to the garden. I do all sorts of things like meditation or yoga or qigong or some karate. I do whatever I can, but it's still just 2 hours in the garden and all the rest of the day inside. So I think it's gonna be better like when it's gonna be over. We already have.
I was just saying everyone's finding ways to cope right now, coping mechanisms to stay mentally healthy.
Yeah.
And physically healthy. Thanks for sharing, Sarah. Sophia, do you want to talk people through the plan for today?
Yes, I made a rookie mistake and I didn't bring my charger, so give me 8 seconds to plug in my computer before it dies, and then we'll launch the trivia.
Okay. Yeah, so we were trying to think of ways to make these Zoom calls a bit more interactive and fun, and we found this really cool website yesterday where you can basically set up a you see Sophia in the background where you can set up a trivia, and then we can all join the website and put our names in, and then we can have a question answering. So it's going to be a bit of an experiment, but hopefully it goes well. There's probably loads of fun online games we could play together.
That was wonderful charger grabbing content. We saw like every part of the door. We saw you coming down the stairs, coming around. It was so funny.
I was wondering, I was like, I think people are just gonna notice the whole, I mean, now you kind of understand how the house works.
Yeah, there's so
I was tempted to do a little like funny dance, but anyways. Okay, so Louis, I think I overheard you explaining that we're doing
I tried
trivia.
to. I didn't explain it very well. Maybe you want to explain it again.
So we put together a little, it's a quick trivia, it's 10 questions, and there's just some general questions about mental health to check and see what we know, what we don't know. They're not specifically difficult questions, but I just wanted to have kind of a feeler of how everybody thinks about mental health. There's a lot of sometimes stigma and stereotypes and misunderstandings. So it's just a little fun game. The rules are going to be pretty simple. I'm going to shoot a link right now in this Zoom chat. Does everybody know how to use the chat here? I'm seeing some heads nod, so I'm going to take that as a general yes. Once you have the link, please click on it. You're going to be asked to set a player name, so put whatever you want. And then once we're all in, so we should be 10 participants, I'm going to launch the game.
I'm going to sit this one out because I helped you last night, so I know all the answers.
Yeah.
I'm just going to run to the toilet whilst everyone's setting up.
And so the rhythm is going to be, there's going to be a question. You have 20 seconds, I believe, maybe 15. I think it's 15 seconds to answer. It's a multiple choice question, so there's always 3 options. And then after each question, the correct answer will be shown. And then we're going to have a ranking of just who's been answering correctly, who hasn't. There's no, obviously, it's not you're right or wrong. It's just to see kind of who's aware of what's going on in the mental health space or not. And at the end, I'd love to have your opinions, like were there some things that surprised you? Were there some answers that you weren't expecting? Talk a little bit about, I think it's really important. We were talking about this with Louis yesterday in terms of what kind of content we were putting into the quiz. A lot of the issue with mental health is the stigma and the taboo around it. So it's like we can't talk about depression and suicide because people might think about depression and suicide, and if they think about it, is that a bad thing? And we want to kind of stop that dynamic where it's like it's just a reality for a lot of people, and we can have just kind of conversations about it and know what people are thinking. So are there any questions before I start? Because obviously it seems it's obvious to me, but I want to make sure it's clear for everybody. Any questions? No? Great, cool. You guys are easy. All right, let me send the link.
Bailey, what's your baby's name? We have a new participant.
His name is Hendrix. Can you say hi?
Hendrix?
Yes, he's a big fan. We watch your vlogs all the time.
Oh, hey Hendrix.
Say hi.
Oh,
So
amazing.
cute.
Thank you.
All right, guys, so I've sent you the link in the chat. Once I have all my little participants on, I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah, so I guess some people, if they're on their phones, their video is going to turn off during the quiz, which is fine. We can still hear you.
Okay.
Annoyingly, on iPads and phones, when you click onto another app with from Zoom, it cuts the video.
All right, I'm at 7 players. Has everybody clicked on it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
You just need
Are
one
we all
more,
in?
right?
We need one more. I'm wondering if everybody's
4, 5,
clicked.
6, 7.
I have Tim, Adam, you're on, Cecile, Barry. You can also join in the middle, so it's not. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you guys.
I'm really interested how this looks on the live stream. So when you share the screen, I'm just going to see what that looks like for everyone, because I think it looks different for everyone.
So let's share. Can you guys see my screen? 2 minutes ago, you would have seen how to kick out robots from Zoom.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So on the live stream, it's gone full screen and I can't see anyone else's videos, only you in the full screen.
You should press escape.
It does the speaker view and then the full screen on the live stream.
I got that. You need to press escape on the Zoom call.
I can, on my screen, it looks different to what's going on to the live stream. That's the thing I'm trying to figure out. Okay, speaker view.
Can everybody
Gallery.
see that the trivia game will begin shortly? That's what I want.
Yeah. So Louis, you can change the view
Yes.
in the Zoom call for you. And on the live stream, you'll see the speaker in the top right-hand corner and then the full screen, which is because it's shared. So
I don't think there's a way to change that unless there's some random setting, but I guess that's fine. Just whoever's watching the live stream are only going to see one of us talking at a time, I guess. So they'll probably just see Sophia and the quiz.
All right.
So I guess
Sophia, do you want a full screen? Because we can see your other tabs.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to full screen it just in 1 second because I want to start the game. I just want to make sure if everybody's ready, I'm going to launch the game and then I'm going full screen. Is everybody ready? All right, I'm going to give a general 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I will launch and go full screen. So I'm thinking in French. I was going to say abonnement, but it's basically get ready, set, go. I'm launching the game. All right. So I might read the questions out loud for the next ones.
Yeah. How's the time limit for everyone? It's pretty quick, right?
Yeah, quite quick.
All right, we got all the answers.
We got them?
Answered. Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Oh, most people picked
All
the wrong
right.
answers.
Justine is currently and Tim.
Oh, I love this. I love that we can see the running total. This is great.
So 75% of all mental illness occurs before a person turns what age? 14 years old, 24 years old, or 34 years old?
Time's up.
All right. This is actually interesting. I'm so like, oh, Tim has gotten the lead.
So also
3.
the faster you play, the more points.
In the classic movie Raymond, what disorder is Dustin Hoffman's character Raymond living with? Is it A, autism, B, schizophrenia, or C, bipolar disorder?
I really should be watching more movies, I guess.
It's an old one. It's from like the 90s, I think. Or even
Interesting. I'm trying to, I need to meet these movies. Louis, I'll let you read the next question.
Okay. Yeah, Rain Man came out in 1988. So next question. What are the total annual estimated costs linked to serious mental illness in the USA, taking into account medical costs, economic costs, social costs? A, $300 billion, B, $2 billion, or C, $500 million?
Yeah, I was born in 2000, hence why I don't know that movie.
Oh, we've got some. The correct answer, $300 billion. Can you guys believe that? I mean, we're going to chat through the answers
Yeah, we're going to
later,
talk about it afterwards.
but that blew my
So
mind.
question 5, in 2018, what addiction did the World Health Organization add to the International Classification of Diseases? Was it sugar, shopping, or computer gaming? All right, so let's see what the answers are. Okay. We got a tie at this top. Adam, Phoebe, Tim. All right, question 6. Which age group currently has the fastest rising suicide rate? Is it under 30s, from the 30s to 40s, or over 50s?
Is this globally? Do you know this is globally, Sophia?
Yes, it was globally. All right. Tim and Adam on the lead.
If you
Question
watch,
7.
if you look, oh, okay, don't worry.
In recent studies, what is proven to be as dangerous as moderate levels of tobacco smoking and drinking alcohol? Is it social media, fast food diet, or loneliness?
I threw in that curveball with the social media.
Adam, taking the lead. Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at the total points, someone's always leading a little bit.
True or false? Depression is a bad mood or a state of mind, not a medical illness.
Oh, that's the first one we've had a solid agreement on. That's cool.
Okay. For adults, how much sleep per night is considered necessary to maintain good mental and physical health? Is it 4 to 6 hours, 7 to 9, or 9 to 11?
I just want to say during lockdown, I've definitely been getting more like 9 to 11 hours sleep.
Yes.
Nice. I need that extra mental health support. Right. How many?
Last question. The best exercise for overall physical and mental health is cycling, dancing, or running? Cecile, that was a great little head nod. Shoulder wiggle. All right, let's see. And I believe we are done with the trivia. Guys, let's see. Nice. This is cool because notice
Adam
what's
killed
interesting.
it.
Adam, you killed it. It's also interesting with the timing. The point levels are different. So Tim actually answered 8 out of 10 questions correctly, but you took your time to answer, I suppose, which is always a good thing. And therefore, if you use a bit faster.
So there is an option. There is an option on the quiz to turn off the speed points that you get for answering faster, but I kind of like the element of like it makes you answer faster. But yeah, don't feel bad if you got the questions wrong. I think some of them were more just to educate us, but yeah, that's fun. I enjoyed
I'm going to zoom out of the screen and we're going to quickly go to the answers to see what you guys have answered, the results summary. So I'm really curious to see, I don't know, Lily, if you want to do this or if we all agree to do this, to look at like where were the biggest misconceptions, right?
Yeah.
So
Well,
for example,
Sophia, you probably don't need to show us that. Why don't you turn the screen sharing off, and then we can just go back to chatting, and you can talk through them all, and then we can.
yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Just because I'm
There we
looking on
go.
the live stream, and all I can see is the screen sharing.
Okay. So I'm just looking
go
through the numbers quickly. It's really
Why don't we
interesting.
go through each question, and then we can just have a conversation around like how we, if we were surprised with the true answer.
So actually on the first question, how many Americans will experience a mental illness at some point in their lives? Most of you guys answered 1 in 2, which would be a 50% ratio. And so I use American statistics, but it's really interesting to see that when I was doing my research, a lot of countries, so for example, America and UK had very similar numbers. The Western world had quite similar numbers, except for Italy, Switzerland, and Scandinavian countries, which usually are said to be happier countries. But so anyways, the answer is actually 1 in 5. So it's actually about 20% of adults, or let's say individuals, who experience a mental illness at some point in their timeline. I'd love to know, like, what made you guys say 1 in 2? Was it just you're thinking it's very common, or is that? I just love to know what your thoughts behind that were. Does anybody want to share?
I mean, for me, it was just like an initial reaction based on conversations that I have with my peers and other humans of Earth. And I think that like a lot of it is like finding common understanding in having been through some of those things. And so it's like, it seems like almost everyone I talk to has dealt with it. So I couldn't imagine it being like much less than 50%. But I mean, I'm curious with those statistics, like, are those diagnosed cases, or are those like, you know?
Yeah, I think the one I got that statistic from the CDC, and it is true that there's a trick between, that's also why I was saying before Louis came back to the table, there's so much stigma and taboo around mental health, where some people might actually be experiencing some, a condition that could be categorized as a mental illness, and actually not necessarily talk about it because they think, oh, I'm just in a bad funk today. So the CDC statistic was a global one, as in diagnosed and non-diagnosed, as in when they put out surveys and they check in with people about what certain symptoms are, what that represents.
It'd be interesting to know if people have, from like Cecile was saying, like, do people feel from their friendship groups that it's actually a higher percentage? Because I would say it seems higher to me in real. I mean, it should be higher than 1 in 5. Like if I talk to my friends, I would say most of my friends, if not, like half of them, have at some point suffered with some kind of mental struggle. So maybe, I don't know if other people feel that as well. Like, is there experience that there is more of your friends than 1 in 5?
It's almost like the, I'm going to use this word loosely, the new social norm is more people. There are now less people who have not had a mental health issue than who have.
Yeah.
It's now becoming more uncommon that, you're stable and you've never had a thing going on. The thing that threw me on that question was how many Americans. I mean, I live in the UK, but specifically Northern Ireland, and if you know anything about Northern Ireland, you know our beautiful troubled history of the Troubles, funnily. And a lot of the mental illness, specifically in this country, is of the older generation. And I remember when I was younger, it almost became a trend to self-harm.
Oh, wow.
I knew a lot of people, and it was like, they always had like token scratches on their arm or something, and it was a bit of a phase a lot of people went through. But now I've seen that more and more people talk about it, and it's not necessarily a badge of honor, but I would say that especially my friends, in 30s and 40s, they're like, yeah, I've had depression, or I'm going through it. And people aren't so afraid to sort of come up beside them and say, look, I don't know, I can empathize with what you're going through. Your depression is different to my depression, but I'm prepared to stand with you. I think that's that's the thing. So that one in 5, yeah, fair enough. That's CDC, but as Louis said, how many people go to their doctor and because of the taboo, you know, they're like, oh no, they'll put me on medication. I don't want to be on medication. I want to still be a normal person.
Interesting. Yeah, I think maybe it's
and
maybe it's higher.
There's a really interesting point that came to my mind when I was doing my research, because, for example, I lived in Morocco for 2 years, and to see your experience when you were sharing about your mental health, it was really interesting. There's so much taboo around mental, I remember I had gone through a kind of a phase where I was like, oh, I could maybe try to see a therapist or something for some personal situations, and it was almost impossible to find. And when I was asking my my family about it, in the main cities like Casablanca, which is a very developed city, like one of the most developed cities in the country, there were a lot of expats and people who had been accustomed to mental health and like therapy and things like that. But in the cities that I was in, it was like, you don't need a therapist. Mental health is not, it's just depending on the mood that you wake up. And so I'm so curious on how the statistics vary between the culture in every country about how open it is to talk about what mental health is and the issues.
I think the good thing is, though, it is getting more accepted as we get more globalized and more people talk about it. I think other people are like, oh, it's okay for me to, I'm not weird if I also suffer with this. Like, this is actually really normal to have mental health issues.
The numbers increase, but that doesn't mean that there's therapists available. The more and more people who come out asking for help means that the UK has got horrendous waiting times for NHS therapists in psychiatry, and it's only been recently that alternative therapies have come out that you can get prescribed them. So as the numbers increase, which is good to see, it in one sense that it means more people are coming out and saying, I need help, but then it means that the available help lessens.
Yeah, that's true. Should we move on to the next? I feel like we could talk for a while on this.
I'm realizing that as well. Okay, so let's move on to the next. I'm gonna, the ones where everybody kind of answered correctly, I'll just be very brief on them. But you were all pretty much accurate on the second question. 75% of all mental illness occurs before a person turns 24 years old. So most of you got that correct, and I think it just speaks a lot about the dynamic between how, and I can correlate this with the question where the fastest rising rate of suicide is for under 30s, which most people also got correct. There's just our culture around isolation and mental health has shifted super fast, and so the younger generations are confronted with much different dynamics than the previous generations did. And it just, I'm trying to pull out some notes. I don't want to get too deep into the details of every question, so I think I'm going to skim over this one. But yeah, I think we all had a sense of the fact that mental health is really impacting the youth currently, and that we are all connected, and we're in a more connected society, but there's some underlying issues at times. And yeah, the classic movie, Rain Man. I don't know how many of you guys have seen Rain Man, so it has Dustin
a long time ago, maybe literally like 20 years ago, maybe no more.
Has everybody, should we just do a raise of hands who's seen Rain Man?
Not many.
Okay, wow, half. And despite that, let me see the results. The majority, actually you're right, most people answered bipolar disorder, and it was actually autism. And I think autism is one of the mental health disorders that's being more and more discussed right now, because it remains quite poorly understood. And just as a information, I guess some of you guys may know that despite being poorly understood, there's about 10% of autistic people who are considered to have really brilliance in a lot of highly demanding subjects like maths, memory, art, music. And it's a condition that is just, I think it used to be very much like autistic people, it's very difficult to communicate whatsoever. And there's more and more initiatives being done where I know Joel has publicly shared that he suffers with autism. And I would have loved to have him on the conversation, because that could have been an interesting.
There's a good series called The Good Doctor, and exactly this. It's one. You know the main small actor in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. What is his name? Again, I forgot his name. So he played actually the main character of The Good Doctor.
Johnny Depp.
No, not Johnny Depp. The Charlie. What is his name? Wait, I'll.
Oh, Charlie. Okay, yeah.
Sean Murphy? Is it Sean Murphy?
Yes, Sean Murphy.
Is that the actor's name or the character's name?
It's the character's name.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
it's a TV show, you said?
Yeah, I'd love to watch that. That's cool.
It's a very good series, and it's I personally watched it, and it's the main doctor, Sean Murphy. It's Freddie Highmore. Sorry.
Freddie Highmore, yeah.
So he played the actual main doctor. He's autistic, and he could buy. I don't know if you know the YouTube channel. Mike, the Dr. Mike. He actually watched the series, and it's actually 99% medically true. Everything that they show in the series, it's actually true. It's actually the good procedures, and the doctor is actually autistic, and it's a very good series. I recommend it.
I actually, off the back of that, Jassim, which I definitely would love to watch it. But I think one of the great things is that in the media, the mainstream media, whether it's movies, TV shows, I think mental health is being addressed a lot more, and it's being normalized a lot more. And I think that's partly what's helping people talk about their own struggles. And I see that as a really positive thing.
Yeah. So moving on to the next question, question 4. What are the total annual estimated costs linked to serious mental illness in the US? It was half correct, so it was really interesting putting in numbers. The correct answer is $300 billion, which when I was doing the research, I was like, that is insane. And then diving more into it, there's a really good report done by the Greater London, actually, because in the UK, for those of you that are British here, I don't know if there's anyone here, but it's a very similar number. It's 25 billion pounds, and this is an annual number, which is huge.
Crazy.
But in order to calculate that number, they include, it's not just medical costs. So it's not just what we think of like, oh, what does it cost to get treated? It actually involves medical costs, social costs, economic costs, and that it includes, for example, unemployment, people who aren't working because of certain mental illnesses, and then that, that triggers a consequence through the economy. The social costs, it was interesting, they were rating, like, for example, crime. So they were explaining that some people might cause damage in the social net that society is through mental health disorders. And we were talking with Louis, another interesting, I think it's important to note, is it's not so much when we use the word cost, it's about like how much money is exchanged, because a cost, it can come out of the pocket of hospitals or also out of the pockets of the people who are affected. So it's just like how much money does mental health disorders in a way like move.
Was anyone shocked by that figure?
Of course.
It's mental, isn't it?
Yeah, it's big money. I like it.
I was expecting something in the millions. Like I was like, oh, probably, 16, 20 million. And then when I saw the numbers, I said, whoa, it's huge.
It's actually more than the budget of the movie Avatar, just to give it perspective. The number one movie.
Wow.
Or even the Avengers, it's even more than that.
Yeah. Well, it's like 1,000 times more. It's like crazy.
Yeah. I'm like,
I guess it shows, for me, when I was really shocked, but it shows you the extent of what society's suffering with. And it makes me realize, wow, this is such a big, widespread issue. And it's very nuanced as well. It's like not just like everyone's depressed, like some people are struggling with different mental health issues, but it makes me wonder, like, I wonder how we can rebuild a more supportive global society that helps people rather than just like having to deal with the repercussions of it, like actually look at more preventative ways. And I think this is the same with a lot of health issues, whether it's mental health or physical health. I think starting to shift into worlds where we look at preventative stuff.
preventive versus firefighting. That's what the report was talking a lot. They were saying that there's a lot of money goes into just reactive measures of, oh, this has happened, and so we're firefighting this, and we're just constantly reacting, versus educating beforehand, like learning how to check in, learning how to say, I'm feeling good and I'm not feeling good, and just knowing the tools available so that it doesn't spiral to having to deal with like a bigger situation. Yes. So then the next question was the one about the what addiction had been added to the World Health Organization and the International Classification of Disease. So you guys were, most of you were right, it's computer gaming. So I'm thinking of all my friends who enjoy computer gaming, my brother, things like that. We're not saying that computer gaming is in any way a mental disorder. The specification of this question is saying that addictive computer gaming can be considered a mental disorder, in a sense where there's a lot of, again, young people, very young people who get engaged into computer gaming, and it just becomes like, it's a virtual exclusion of everything else in their lives. And actually, they were saying that from 2017 onwards, there's several countries that have started to legislate how to control and reduce access to computer gaming for younger generations, especially late at night, just because it can quickly become a whole world that, you know, you can get sucked into and not really reconnect with reality. I'm wondering, are there any gamers in the group? Do you guys want to talk about it? Do you feel, yeah, some hands are raised. My only experience is sometimes we play Mario Kart with the house, and it's really, really minimal, but I can see how you get sucked into just a world. And sometimes, like, after we're done playing for hours, I'm like, should I be like walking outside instead of being in front of a screen playing? And at the same time, I love it. I love Mario Kart and I love Princess Peach. So I'd love to hear, your experiences on that.
I think the world of VR is quite interesting, because now, like, it's going to become like you can live your own virtual life in VR. And just the like brief times that I was doing a bit of VR stuff, I kind of got the sense of how you could get very addicted to it, and then that become your sense of reality, because it just keeps getting better and better and better. And I can see how you would get very sucked into that, and then believing that is reality, and believing that your actions in there are your life. Which I can see could be pretty concerning for humanity as a whole, to be just completely almost just plugging into a whole life that's online. Virtual reality is, I think, one of the things that concerns me the most to that, because it becomes so real when you're in it. I don't know if anybody else has tried it, but some of the virtual reality stuff is so realistic that you feel like you are in normal life.
One of my studies in cinema is actually VR and new technologies. And one of my subjects I need to write on is about VR and how it's a new world in cinema, and then how productions are done to make reality as 100% into your eyes. And it's way too long. It's a whole process. It's a whole budget just on the production. But it's very interesting to know that VR is like into production, where the main objective is how we can bring reality into your eyes. That's the main objective of a director when he's making his movie in virtual reality.
Interesting.
I'd love to hear from Tim and Adam about gaming and what your guys' experience have been.
Yeah, sure. So I remember when the news kind of broke, and the gaming community kind of went crazy. Everybody was like, there's no way, like we're not addicted. And there are a lot of people that are really. There is, I think, a difference between, it's a very small difference between like playing a lot of video games and having it being addictive. That's a very fine line, but I definitely am on the line. It's hard, because when there's been times where I have no access to playing games, and the amount of productivity that enters my life is insane. Like, it feels like if I have access, or and I'm just speaking for me personally, if I am able to play like I will, even if I have other things I have to do. I'll just be like, I could do those other things, but this is kind of right here. This seems kind of fun, you know?
Yeah.
And
Do you
so,
ever get withdrawal symptoms if you've been playing a lot and then you have to step away and do something else?
a little bit, yeah, I would say so. Like you're just sitting there like thinking about, like, oh, this would be so cool to be doing right now. Like I want to be playing this game right now. And you're just like thinking about it constantly. But I've noticed that it's short period of time. Like if you wait like a couple weeks, then that kind of goes away. And that's just speaking from my personal experience. It's different for everybody, but I noticed I have felt it before.
What about you, Adam?
Yeah, I'm a big PC gamer. It's my go-to safe space, you know, shut the door, headphones on, zone out of what's going on.
I can tell you're serious because you've got those meal replacement drinks, those Huel.
My fridge is behind me.
It's like, I haven't got time to eat.
Yeah.
I'm gaming.
Indeed. But so I has probably put a good couple of 100 hours into a game called The Division 2. And recently, whenever everything with the viral thing hit, I actually had to stop playing the game because the storyline is too much like reality right now.
Whoa.
So the Division 2, there was a virus was let out during Black Friday in America, and it went worldwide using money. And you're sent in, and you're seeing, like, you know, you're literally doing supply runs and having to self-isolate from people, and I was like, this is too, I was like, this is too real. And stopped and got really down because I was going, well, that's where I go to when I'm stressed. Now what do I do?
Wow.
And you know, so I have a 3D printer here. You can see it there, and I started printing masks, which I've donated to some people. I started printing off little bits to go on the face masks because I live next door to a surgeon, and there's a few other people, and she's giving them out. So I started putting the same energy, like Tim said, that you would have put into the games, and that mental, I need to do something, into, right, I can do this and this can make a difference. It's giving me something to put my energy into, and it's also helping. So it's a win-win. But yeah, I've lost days playing. You know, you go to sleep at 3-4 o'clock in the morning, you get up, you maybe go to the shop because you ran out of sugary soft drinks and snacks, and come back and gaming again.
It's so interesting, man, because I know myself, and I've got a highly addictive personality, and that's why personally I don't drink alcohol. There's lots of things I deliberately avoid in my life because I know that if I started, I would just I wouldn't have balance. And one of those things I've known for a long time is I could get so addicted to computer gaming. And I remember back when I was doing my exams back as a teenager, the whole time I was supposed to be studying, I just completed like every computer game I could get my hands on. I was like very like procrastinated. And then, like Sophia was saying, we've been playing Mario Kart as a house, which is good because it's a team game. So you can't just sit there solo playing it for hours, really. Like you could, but like it's more fun as a team. But not at one point have I thought, yeah, I've played enough today. Like I normally stop playing because other people stop playing. If I could, I'd probably just play all day. Like that's how addictive I am. So I totally relate to that.
Louis, I play Mario Kart with a steering wheel.
Oh my gosh.
I have the gear pad, I have the gear and accelerator, and I have the stick shift.
Do you know what I think? Do you know what I think is even more rife in society right now is social media addiction? And I think gaming for me, I think it's more engaging, it's more exciting, that you can get lost in it, and it's fun, right? Social media is a weird one because I feel like social media often it isn't fun. You actually makes you like feel negative, like you're addicted to something and you're feeling bad about it. Like, and I actually had to put some measures in place to try and stop my social media addiction. So one of them was I don't have my phone in my bedroom. Me and Raya decided to stop bringing our phones into our bedroom, so I'm not like at night scrolling Instagram for hours or whatever, or TikTok or whatever the new app is. So that's something I've tried to help balance my life. And I think that doesn't mean social media or computer gaming is wrong, but I think like anything, you've just got to find a healthy balance where you're not too deep in. So yeah, interesting.
I completely agree on that one. Like, it really rung true with me because I started a YouTube channel when I was 12. And this is like kind of a different side of social media, but I feel like I'm almost addicted to the process of creating. Like, it's definitely not making me enough money to survive off of it. And you know what I mean? Like, it hasn't grown that much yet, but I still treat it like a job. Like, since 2012, I've been treating it like a job, and I get stressed out about it, and I'm up at night, like, worrying about it, and it's literally not a job. But for me, in my head, it feels like that. I feel like, oh my gosh, like once a week video, like every day Instagram post. Like, I get stressed out about that in a way that just like, I don't know if that wouldn't be normal in most other things.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you're addicted to posting. Yeah, I was like that for sure.
I'm not addicted to posting, but it's more like I treat it like a job when it's not, which is a little strange. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. But
as long as you're still enjoying it, I think
my mental health sometimes though. Like, even if I'm not feeling like creating, I still do.
Yeah, I think that with a lot of things, it's like if you're passionate and enjoying it, and it's not becoming like a negative part of your life, I guess that's a good sign. I don't really know. With computer gaming, going back to computer gaming, I don't know where I would find the balance, because if it's fueling your excitement and you're escaping, especially right now, I wouldn't want anyone to feel guilty about being on computer games all day, because we're all coping in the ways that we can, you know. But there's something exciting about being lost in other worlds. In the same way, like, I binge TV shows. If I start a TV show, I'll just watch it all day, because that's another thing I get addicted to. But in the same way, it's like you're getting lost in another world. You're getting lost in this other experience, and gaming's even more interactive because you're not just consuming, you're like participating in it. So yeah, it's an interesting.
Or we just watch Louis on YouTube.
I'd love to know, Bailey, do you notice in your students that you teach patterns like computer gaming addiction or anything like that?
Yeah, I have a few students. Our school district is 1-to-1 ratio, so all the kids have Chromebook computers to use. And a few of them have had to have those taken away because they figured out how to hack into the system and take down all of the blockers blocking games, so they can play games during class rather than doing assignments. And they'll come to school really tired. But I think I see the social media thing with my students more than I see gaming. They'll make strange comments like, oh, only 10 people liked my picture, everyone hates me. Or they'll check their phone. Wow. Any texts or any likes or any notifications, everyone hates me. And they'll say things like that, and it's awful because they're always wanting to check their phone. I have a place in the front of my classroom, and I have them put their phones in there, just because they're so distracted by the phones. And anytime there's anything lights up or there's a vibration in their pocket, they want to check it because they want that instant dopamine release that someone is liking what they're doing. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, and it starts so young that, I don't know, it stresses me out for them. I worry for them because I teach 9th graders, so they're 14, and they already feel like this, that they need to have all of this validation through social media.
I'm sure that's having a huge effect on mental health with teenagers, like that kind of, just at that stage in your life where you're finding your identity and you're learning about life and who you are. And then suddenly you've got this external validation and this pressure to be popular, and having this almost split personality of your online persona that you can like smooth your skin and do your poses to get, to get likes. I don't know. It's just so crazy to me. Even as someone that's in their late 30s now, like I even feel it. And I managed to go through all of my kind of growth as a teenager and early 20s without social media. And I really appreciate that. I can't even imagine what it would have been like back then, having that kind of pressure.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. And I think Snapchat is another one that's made it difficult because they love to film each other when things go wrong. And our school is pretty small. We only have about 700 students, 9th through 12th grade. but it's terrible when someone, is presenting something and they mess up and it just spreads throughout the school. So there's even that aspect that everything they're doing is being shared with everyone, even if they don't want it to be.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking at the questions. It's a good segue into the next few ones because I'm just, where have I put Safari? There we go. So the next question after the computer gaming one was which age group currently has the fastest rising suicide? And I know we kind of touched on that. Most people were correct with the under 30s. And then the question right after was in recent studies, what is proven to be as dangerous as tobacco and alcohol? And it was split. Most of you guys answered between loneliness and social media. The correct answer is loneliness, but social media, like to our conversation, is I would argue back that social media has become almost as can be as dangerous. It's conditional to how social media is used, whether it's being used as a tool or whether it's using the person. And yeah, so it's interesting because our conversation has kind of not organically covered all three of those topics. I think I had a question in terms of the loneliness aspect, specifically right now with the COVID-19 situation. I was just curious to know, have you guys felt generally more lonely or more supported, and even maybe beyond just COVID? What are your thoughts around the feeling of loneliness? Because just to put a quick note, I've been sometimes in rooms of my closest, deepest, darling friends that I love dearly and have moments where I'm there, but not fully there. And your mind can just, I'll be in my mind and I'm like, what's wrong with me? I'm with the people that I love the most in a room and still I can manage to like self-isolate mentally, although I'm in a social setting. And I'm just curious to know if that's a shared experience or what are the experiences around loneliness for you guys? And before you guys answer, how do you just also provide solutions when you have those moments of identifying to loneliness? What do you tell yourself? How do you sometimes zoom out of it? Do you openly talk about it? Do you have words of, do you know how to talk to yourself in those moments? I don't know if anybody's interested in sharing.
Yeah, sure. I know exactly what you're talking about. I've experienced the same exact thing. And it's strange because you think that is the total opposite of how you'd feel in a situation where you're surrounded by people that you really care about. But for me, the only way that I found that works for me personally to kind of get out of that mindset is to distract myself for a little bit. Like if I'm feeling whatever way, like whether it's loneliness or anything, the ways I tend to distract myself is through like movies or music or like reading books. And what it does is if you're feeling a certain way and you're like, just stop thinking about it, you're not going to stop thinking about it. It's not that simple. So I have to put myself into a whole nother world. And then when you come back from that world, you'll either feel different or you'll feel the same, but usually for me, it helps me just come back, a refresh of the mind. And sleep helps with that too. Waking up on a new day, and it doesn't always help, but yeah, that's just how I tend to deal with things.
Thanks for sharing. Reem, I don't know, I know you might be listening. I'm wondering if you want to participate or if you have anything that you want to share on the subject that we've been mentioning so far.
Yes, I would like to add to that about the loneliness part is most of us or some of us are working from home, so I don't feel the loneliness per se, but sometimes you feel isolated because you need to accomplish a task or something, so you isolate from yourself. So you isolate yourself from your family or the people you are living with right now. And as Tim said that, Tim said that you would think that at this time you would feel some more connected. But when you isolate yourself, you think, oh, maybe I should do something with my family or so instead of working or studying. Because currently I'm studying from home, so I need to isolate myself a lot to accomplish my papers or so on. So you feel sometimes that you are in your head at that time where you think, I think I'm under pressure, or I feel lonely in that certain project or something. So at that time you feel the pressure of loneliness or isolation, I guess. Yeah. I don't know if any of you guys feel the same way, where you feel lonely when you work on something and you just like realize that, oh, I need to talk to someone or something.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing, Reem.
Yeah, Jassim, I don't know if you wanted to share as well. Oh, Jassim?
Oh,
I'm unmuting
yeah.
you.
Yeah, sorry. I wasn't paying attention. So for me, it's not only loneliness, because as it's exam period, so I don't have any much time to do. So I have study, do the exam. That's my only thing that I have in my head. But I am privileged to have my uncle live like right down the street. So anytime I feel lonely, I just go to him, and it's some time. It's a time out of my own small 20-meter apartment, of a really small apartment, to him and my cousin and his wife. Uh, I get to play with my small cousin, and I get to spend time away and think that I'm not lonely, that it's okay, that everything's gonna be all right. That's how I think about it. But I don't know. For example, when I ask myself every time, is it worth it to think that I'm lonely? Is it a time for me to think about myself, think about my objective in life, what I want to do after? Maybe some situations are not what I expect it to be. So I take this time to be alone, get away from social media, because I'm addicted to way too much social media. I say it, but it's like I think about it is that being lonely. It's a way for us to think about stuff that when we are with friends, with teachers in class, or I don't know, spending time with friends at a local cafe or going to the cinema with friends. Is this time perfect for us to think about things we want to do in life? And I think it's a perfect time, honestly.
Yeah, that's a good insight. Thank you for sharing. We have did I interrupt somebody?
You're good. No, you're so good. I just had one thing to add, like something that's kind of come to mind throughout, listening to all of your takes on it, is like, I think that there's a big difference between being alone and feeling lonely, like, and exactly what you just said, how you can be in a crowd of people and still feel lonely. And like, I think that for me, I really highly value meaningful conversation and meaningful connections. And like, I travel a lot, which I'm very privileged to do. But sometimes when you're traveling quickly, and especially alone, you're staying in hostels, and it can be harder. And not only when you're traveling, but that's my personal example. But it can be harder to like connect with people or have those meaningful connections because you just met them, And I definitely try my best to find my tribe and to find those people that I can have deep conversations with. Just to sort of fill that void for me. But I do find that like sometimes, if things are too, there's nothing wrong with being lighthearted, but like if things are too sort of surface or lighthearted, then I can feel a little bit empty even when I'm, surrounded by people. Just something to add.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. It's going to be quite fast to wrap up the last questions because they all kind of tie together. So first one, we went the question: true or false, is depression a bad mood or a state of mind versus being a medical illness. Everybody answered that that was false, and you're correct. Depression is a serious medical illness to be considered in the right ways. And the question after that was about the sleep, sleeping per night, how much everybody answered as well, that it's 7 to 9 hours. I feel like that's just been communicated a lot through just like, I feel like I've heard it since the past at least 10 years, sleep 7 to 9 hours. And so I'm happy that the lesson has been learned, apparently. That said, I also know that I don't like to, I want to be super mindful in making sure people don't feel like you have to sleep. Some people can sleep a little amount of time. It's literally finding what works for you. I also don't want to guilt anybody who has to sleep 11 hours. I'm thinking of my sister right now who sleeps 11 hours every day, and she will not wake up before. And for sometimes we're like, you have a problem. And actually not, she doesn't. It's just people do enjoy sleeping. And we should let people live. And then the last question was about the best exercise. And most of you guys, there was almost a tie between running and dancing. So dancing apparently is one of the best activities for mental health, just mostly because it combines so much, like it has musical and it has music, rhythm, memory, artistic expression. There's a lot of social connection. I mean, I guess, I don't know how it works for you guys, but to me, dancing is so contagious. Like if I see somebody even like in a supermarket that's listening to music, it makes me so happy. And I think I can't explain it. There's almost a scientific explanation to just like, even Cecile earlier when you were doing the little head bop, I was like, ooh, yeah, head bop.
I think for me, it's the silliness element of it. Like, I'm guessing you're not talking about like professional, very serious dancers, but it's like,
yeah.
I'm guessing none of us, I mean, maybe some of us are professional dancers, but I like this. Yeah,
Oh,
I like the silliness element of dancing, that you can just have fun and play. It's like the playfulness of it. Which is what I think just brings so much joy and laughter and happiness. And whenever we just mess around dancing in the house, it's like you said, it's contagious joy.
Well, I mean, when you look into researches around dancing, it's just basically dance actually, and I'm, again, very important note, I'm not going to talk about professional dancing because I'm not sure, because it brings more like structure and precision, but dancing, the natural kind of state of dance, of free flow expression, it stimulates and exercises the brain in many more ways than just like physical experience and physical experiences like cycling or running. And I think that there's an aspect of creativity to it and like coordination, balance. It's this combination of physical exercise and almost like emotional creative exercise. And that's why it's said to be a great, just a great activity for good mental health. And I mean, there's so many dance challenges going online. I'm thinking even myself, we could do one because that would be super fun.
Let's do that another day. We should do that.
Yeah.
That was funny. Cool. I think we've had a quite long call. I think we should wrap up. Really want to thank you, Sophia, for like leading through the trivia and like going through the questions. It was really, really good today, and I think it really provoked a lot of like deep conversation. I think it was really cool to hear people sharing what their experience and us just talking through some of those issues. And thanks for joining. Thanks everyone for taking time out of your day.
Just say something, Louis?
Yeah, go for it, Adam. Yeah.
Going back to question 9 about the 7 to 9 hours sleep, I remember actually reading a couple of studies that the 7 to 9 hours is good, but the way we do it in one continuous bracket is actually not the best. And I think it was the Victorians who used to do, you would sleep in stages. So you would do like 4 hours sleep, you'd get up. So like for you creative guys, you get up, you maybe read 1 or 2 paragraphs of a book, but then for them, they would have done like Bible study or some meditation and things. So you had a good time in the morning when it's quiet, and then you would go back to sleep again for your second like 4 hour bracket.
Interesting. Yeah. And then also like in a lot of Latin, Spanish countries, there's like the siesta where there's like the afternoon sleep. Yeah. Well, yeah. Did anyone else want to share anything before we end the call? Any other thoughts?
I just had one thought about dancing, which is the reason that I like dancing so much, is I think at least it's the one thing that like pulls us into the present moment, which is why I think it helps people a lot, because when you're dancing, you are entirely like in the music and like connected with your body and the music sound in the moment that you're in. and presence is one of the biggest things I think that helps people and draws them back to the now and helps them with their mental health and feeling better.
So true.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for everyone sharing. If you're not part of the Telegram group, we have a Telegram group where we can just, chat together throughout the week. And also it's where we first post about these calls that we can do together. And yeah, just if anyone needs anything, just support or just needs someone to chat. And if you are feeling lonely or disconnected, I think that's been a really cool resource for us. And yeah, thanks. Really appreciate you all. It's been great chatting, and I guess we'll do another call next week.
I'm just going to share the link here, and then
I was going to say, how do we get the link?
I'm going to share it right now in the Zoom call. I'm sending it to everybody.
I'll also put it in the description of the live stream on YouTube and Facebook. I can edit the description now, but here's I'll put it in the chat as well. So if you want to just quickly click it in the chat, and then I'll put it in the description as well. Cool. Yeah. Have a great afternoon, evening, nighttime, wherever you are in the world.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Happy
you.
Friday.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.